On this side of the board, we're on track. Do you have some announcements you'd like to make?
Well, no, I just wanted to, this is going to be a great interview, and I hope Sophie calls us. But let's go. We're going to welcome in to Golf Talk Radio here on ESPN Radio, Mr. E.J. Pfister. He's one of the top instructors in the whole world. This man is up-and-coming superstar as a golf teacher. E.J., you with us?
Yes, I am.
Hey, good morning to you, or afternoon.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
The pleasure's ours, E.J. It really is, and thank you for taking the time. You must be a very busy man.
I like the diversity of what I do, so it keeps me busy. I have, I do a lot of traveling, but all in all, I am passionate about it. I couldn't be in a better sport, I don't think.
Yeah, but and I was glad to hear you say that. Both Mike and I are PGA professionals, and we kind of rode this wave for many, many years. It was the coolest thing, and then it's a struggle, and it's starting to come back. Don't you think a little bit? I mean,
I think
yeah.
I think so. I think too, as PGA professionals, I try to sell people because you teach a lot of juniors, and I try to sell them on the fact that golf's way more it's a more diverse tool than just PGA Tour. There's a lot of avenues you can take using golf as a tool, and fortunately, I get to benefit from that and make a living from it.
And speaking of which, you're doing really well, and I'm really proud of you. E.J. Pfister joining us right now. I know you know Sophie, and we're going to talk about her in a few minutes. She's been on the show a lot. She lives here locally and kind enough to pop in and kind of give us updates on her life. But let's talk about you for a few minutes. You're becoming recognized as one of the best teachers, and you really are, and your reputation precedes you. And a quick question, what do you think distinguishes the great teachers from even the average? I don't want to say poor teachers or just the other teachers. What distinguishes the great teachers from other teachers?
Well, I think I'm fortunate that my playing background exposed me to connections that some people don't have. And I think the passion for learning, and I think you got to put your ego at the door if you want to do this profession, because there's so much good knowledge out there that you have to be open and have resources to go seek it. And with my connections, I think I've been able to jump a few steps and get to the top instructors early in my career, so that I was getting started off on a good foot early. And then from there, I just think it takes care of itself. If you're passionate about it and people are getting better, it seems that you get recognized and you take notice, and then pros want your advice, and it doesn't make you a great teacher, but it adds credibility to your information when top-level players want you to help them. And I think it's kind of a combination of everything that's allowed me to achieve what I have.
So what you're saying, it's your passion and, of course, credibility. It's the reputation. And
correct.
All you great instructors, I'd love to put myself in that same sentence, but I can't quite yet. But you all are very modest. You just are modest people. But the truth is, it comes to you. You don't necessarily have to go to them.
Correct.
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
Correct. I don't market or sell, because I think as your career progresses, the level of player that seeks your help, and I've had help from, like I said, my playing background. Tom Pernice and Bob Tway have done more for my career than I think I could ever do for them. Even though I've been able to, I think, help them, but I think they've helped me more. And
right.
So it's people like that are passionate about what they do that have helped me move along. And then the instructors that I've worked with, the Jim McLeans and the Jim Hardys and the Mike Adams, all these people are great people, passionate, and they're passionate about helping others. And I think that circle, once you get in that circle and become recognized as being passionate about what you do, it just kind of pulls you along.
So as you're a role model for so many of us fellow professionals, EJ, and I know sometimes for people that's humbling and whatnot, but you mentioned some of these top instructors. Are those your role models, or what kind of role models do you have?
Yeah, I would say they are. Once again, I just try to put myself in front of the best and see who would take me along. And some instructors are more passionate about being good teachers too, and those are the ones I seem to gravitate to. Like I said, the McLeans and the Jim Hardy has done more for me than he is. Just so passionate about helping others and other instructors. And once I started spending a lot of time with Jim Hardy, it seemed like my career kind of took off.
Okay.
I had more material and more knowledge, and how he helped me organize all my knowledge and put it so that I could use it to helping people, because I had a lot of ideas on how to help people, but it wasn't organized and it was just kind of scattered. And then he helped me get an idea on how to organize everything and how to continue to grow. And he got me back to teaching from ball flight. I would say that I was more of a swing shape teacher. I depended too much, I would say, on technology, because that's the way I was brought up in the technology world with the video cameras. And going to McLean, it was kind of the same thing. We studied the best swings in the world and what were some of the common denominators in swing shape. And I think I separated myself from ball flight, which our old teachers that didn't have our technology, the John Jacobs of the world, who has mentored many teachers, his emphasis was more on understanding ball flight because they didn't have the technology we have. So Jim's helped me come back to understanding ball flight, and I tend to work back from ball flight. And if I'm a little stuck, I'll use the technology and look at swing shape that might cause ball flight.
Well, imagine being the perfect blend, which it seems like you are. You're combining technology and ball flight rules in together and becoming one of the most renowned teachers there is. So that there's something to that. Great mentors you've had, and we've had the pleasure of all those people you just talked about to being on our show before. And every time we talk to you guys, you can tell the passion, and you really can tell that that you're striving for the education as much as the student, and that's what's amazing to me. You guys are learning at the same pace that the students are, and I love that. I know you work with some of the greatest players, and of course we just mentioned the greatest, Sophie. I mean, Sophie's the greatest player ever, but we think so because she's a good friend. But
we can convince her of that. I think she will be.
There you go. Hopefully she's going to be calling in a few minutes and join you. But are you allowed to are you allowed to mention some names that you're working with, or is that just something that you guys just don't talk about? I mean, are you allowed to name drop?
Well, people obviously ask who you work with, and to me, it's day to day. You're only as good as they are getting. And so, like, for the people I teach, Tom Pernice and Bob Tway and Bob's son Kevin and Scott Verplank are some of my closest friends that I've been fortunate to, like I said, I learned just as much from them as I do probably help them. So, and then on the LPGA Tour, I'm fortunate to be with Karin Shodin and Stacy Promenatsu, and
wow,
I help Heather Bowie a little bit. So it's a good group of people, and what I've found out that Jim Hardy told me earlier is you got to be with people that are willing to listen and want to learn. And fortunately for me, the students that I'm with, that's the case. And I would say we're friends as much as anything, which makes the relationship even better.
And that was going to be the next question, is what makes a good student and an easy student for you to work with. You just nailed it. Joining us right now, we have E.J. Pfister. He's a top 100 instructor. You can check out his website at ejpfister.com. And I noticed that...
Pfister with a P.
Yeah, Pfister. I noticed you're based at Oak Tree National. Is that right, EJ?
Yes. I went to school at Oklahoma State and kind of left to pursue teaching, and then moved back there, and they were able to... It's just a great place, a lot of tradition there, and they allowed me to build a teaching center there. And
that's awesome.
I spent a lot of money on technology, and more so to help me diagnose the student. But I have the 3D motion systems, I have the TrackMan, I have high-def video system, I have all the line loft machines of the PGA Tour, and I have the TrackMan for ball flight and fitting, so that the tour pros that play out of there, they don't have to leave their home to test product or ball. I have all the technology they would need there, as well as any kind of diagnostic for swing shapes or that stuff. So I'm very fortunate. It's a great place.
I think this is amazing. I'm just in awe of this. I was thinking, God, we don't have any of that stuff. Well, I got a couple of those things. But EJ, you've been on Golf Channel and you've done many instructional videos. You've written articles and columns. And the reason I bring this up, do you have a favorite golf book or video? One that's it's top of your collection. Do you have one that your go-to book or video?
There's a few of them. Like I said, it's weird now that I was the guy making all the calls to ask what books to read and all that. And then I started with John Jacobs' Ball Flight Laws. Yeah. Since then, with technology we have, it's been tweaked a little bit, but I think that's always a safe one to start off with. And then when I learned from Carl Welty, who's out in California, he said anytime someone's the best players in the world are going to share with you what made him great, you should probably read the book. So Jack Nicklaus Golf My Way,
Isn't it
I would
amazing?
say is,
Yeah.
or Arnold Palmer. I've got those. I got the Ben Hogan book. So I try to read what the best players have ever, or instructors.
Johnny Miller's
have
Pure
done.
Golf. Remember Johnny Miller's Pure Golf? Those are staples in a lot of collections. What about the Little Red Book?
Yeah, Little Red Book. I have been searching for a perfect swing. I will admit that Golf Machine's a little difficult for me. But I still try to get through it and talk to people that understand it better than I, just to continue to learn more.
Awesome.
But Nick Price's book, The Swing,
Yep.
I thought was phenomenal. Good illustrations. Tiger's book, the first one he did with the quality of the pictures in there is
Oh
phenomenal.
yeah, that one's amazing. That one
so
is
there's
great
a
for
lot
visual,
of
yeah.
them.
yeah.
And I think the more you read and the more diverse you are in your instruction, I think that's why I don't have really one mentor, because I don't think it's fair. I think there's too much good information that other people have out there.
It makes a lot of
So
sense.
You owe it to yourself to listen to it.
So EJ, it's safe to say that you don't have one favorite, but it's the compilation of all of them that it really is what you need to look at. You need to look at all kinds of information, right?
Yeah, correct. I think Mike Bennett and Andy Plummer are some of the nicest. I've been fortunate to be with them, and they're passionate about what they, whether you agree with it or not, there's something in there you can use to help a student. I don't care if it's, backswing or club face that you learn. There's something in their technique that you're going to come across that you can use to make someone better. And it may be that one person that can help change your life, that leads to a corporate outing. Or can help grow your career. So that's the way I look at all this information.
And it's such a refreshing to hear an instructor say that too, because if you think about how many people you come across, or we all come across as PGA professionals, everybody learns differently, and having all those resources like you have, EJ, that you've taken with all these different books and the people that have networked with, you've networked with, you really can broaden your range on who you can help. No matter what kind of player it is. And I think, man, that just makes you so much more marketable. I love it. I just think that's great.
And I think that's why all it takes is introducing yourself to Mike and Andy or Sean Foley, and that kind of gives you an idea of what kind of character they are, as well as letting them understand what kind of character you are. And if they sense that you're passionate and want to learn, they're going to share information. And that's all I've done. I haven't done anything more than that. I've just been nice to people and expressed my passion for learning, and that's how, people say, what's the secret? I mean, it's really not a secret.
Well, the passion's contagious, and it sure comes out, and of course that, like you said, that's the quality of all the best. And you are becoming. You mentioned earlier. Excuse me, I stuttered there for a second, but you mentioned you were a player and your playing experience. Well, it's obviously your passion's in teaching. Your success right now is amazing as being a coach and a mentor and a teacher. Do you still have the passion to play? Do you still play competitively?
I think it adds credibility to the information when you can go out there and play. So I play a lot in the desert with Tway and Verplank. That's where they hang out. And then at home, I don't play as much as I used to, and even in the corporate engagements and stuff that I do for companies, it really helps that you can go out there and play very good golf. So I still play good enough to, make people think I was a good player, but not.
Are you enjoying
I go out
it?
on that senior tour. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. Now I have two kids that are a little bit older that I show some interest. I have a 6-year-old and an 11-year-old, and they show some interest in it. So it makes it more. I have more drive and desire to get them involved in the sport. Not that I want to be tour pros or anything, but
Sure.
I hope they could benefit from the sport the same way I have.
Well, it's amazing you said that. I'm a first tee coach and a trainer for the first tee, and being a PGA teacher forever, it's nice to teach the kids it's a game, and we're working on their skills and their life skills, which I know that I read your website stuff. You're working with life skills, and it's just nice to introduce kids to the game more so than to the swing in the beginning. Introduce them a game. It's a game. You just go out and have some fun. It's a game, and so I just was curious. You still have you still do have the passion in the game, and you still play.
Yeah, I've been reading books too about motor learning and all that stuff, and with my kids' sport, whether it's baseball or golf, or I approach it the same way you just discussed. I don't critique the winning and losing. I critique, how did you conduct yourself, and what can we learn from the experience on the field to apply towards getting better, one, and towards maturing. And so I see these parents out there that weigh it all on winning, and they're totally losing what the sport's all about and the benefits from it. It's not only winning and losing; it's developing your child as a human being and getting prepared for the next, for growing up and maturing.
That's so well said.
Very well said. Joining again us here on Golf Talk Radio with Mike and Billy and ESPN Radio, we have EJ Pfister, top 100 instructor. Can we talk a little bit or ask you a few questions about Sophie?
Sure.
Yeah. She's been on the show, been a good friend of ours here for the last year or so, and I know she's gone through a couple different things. I think she had an injury not too long ago, and then I think she was just recently out in Oklahoma with you, I believe.
Yes. Well, we're in Scottsdale.
Or Scottsdale, excuse me. I'm sorry, I was thinking about the Oak Tree.
Yeah, I know, I understand.
So her last visit there, what do you do? You probably don't get to see Sophie as often as maybe that she would like to see you. How do you approach working with her when she's traveling back and forth and going around to these different tour events, and what's the best way that you've found approaching with Sophie? You did mention that it sounds like her mental side, getting her to believe in herself, is a big aspect of her game as well.
Well, she was struggling a little bit, and I see it when I'm at Tway. They're comparable as far as the learning process, because when their games were struggling, they struggled for a while, and I think what happens over time, your confidence starts to deteriorate. And even though we can get the swing better, it seems to me like the confidence and self-belief tend to lag behind. And so it's important for me to recognize when I see that the ball flight and swing shape are getting better, to let them understand that self-image and the little things in the process to get their self-image and confidence and trust back, they're also working on that at the same intensity level as their golf swing, and making sure that they acknowledge and give credit to a good golf shot. Because when you're struggling, you tend to hit a bad one and go, here we go again.
So that's the art of your instruction. That's the art that you are balancing it for them. You're a conductor. You're conductor. Yeah, you're the conductor. That's pretty. My big question is: does she bring you baked goods? Because we get we get baked goods here in studio. Does she bring you the baked goods, man? Does she? All right. Okay. Dang. Okay.
We thought we were special.
Yeah, we thought we were special for a minute. Okay, so.
No, so for Sophie, we started to get. The first process was diagnose where we're at as far as, what are the tendencies, what are the faults, what ball flight tends to creep in under pressure, and what would cause that. And when we first tried to change some of the things in her swing, I would have to say that before we started, it was some physical limitations that she could probably tell you about or has discussed. And when I tried to get her body motion proper, it stressed some of the her glutes and stuff started to feel some pain. So she had to go, and this is all from TPI stuff that I've learned from the TPI program, which I'm sure you guys are aware of, that I think is phenomenal guideline for understanding, how the effect of a body makeup can affect what you're working on in your golf swing and how it limits you. But Sophie was that case. She couldn't do some of the things we needed to do at first as far as sequencing on the downswing. She would start with her club head and arms, club shaft and arms coming down, and her body would just turn. So she would turn off of her back foot and just couldn't support the club face and would hit hooks. So we needed to I put her on the K-vest, and it showed right away the sequence of motion fault. But when we got her sequence properly with the lower body moving forward to get onto the left foot before it turned, that it would stress and cause some pain in her body. So she's worked hard in the gym to allow us to get this sequence, and now she's seen the benefits from the ball flight, and now we're working on trying to get her to believe and trust and have some confidence and build her self-image back again, so she believes she can play at that level.
Yeah, and that's such an important part in the game, I would imagine, too, with the level that she's trying to get to. The mental aspect of it is...
Well, when toning the body, like you said, you got to build piece by piece so it works.
So how do you... I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's tough because a pro can see and understand the work ethic and time that it takes to change. If I was to go through this with an amateur, I wouldn't have got past the first lesson, because they would have thought I was crazy, and they wouldn't have want to put in the time and effort, and they would have said, "Well, the swing he told me caused injury."
Right.
So it's a tough gig from that perspective. But Sophie's done great, and she's been dedicated, and I think if she keeps at it, the way she's going about it, she's going to reap some benefits from it.
Love hearing that. Again, joining us, EJ Pfister, top 100 instructor. EJ, what do you have coming down the pipeline? Any new projects, anything you're currently working on to release anytime soon?
Most of my off season spent continuing to develop and go to seminars. I went to a bunch of seminars this off season with Lanny Basham, who is a gold medalist in rifle shooting, and he kind of started to lose his eyesight, and so he's helping me understand kind of how to help people take from the driving range to the golf course. He's helped me learn more about developing a process to help Sophie and Stacy. I'm having Stacy. He's got a lot of good books out.
So let me ask you, when you say you went to these clinics, these are as a student, not as a teacher? I mean, you went to learn.
No, those are all as a student. I'm
Wow.
going there in a classroom. I'm paying the $2,000
See
or
that?
$3,000,
That's
whatever
what,
it costs.
That's what makes us the best instructors the best instructors.
Yeah, so I wanted to learn more because I felt like, I told Lanny, I said, I don't feel complete when a student leaves my teaching center because I do a lot for their mechanics, but I don't leave them in a mental state better. So he's helped me balance, and now I close my lessons a little differently, and I try to give them some stuff to mentally prepare themselves to take the swing change to the golf course. Wow. And I've used that for Sophie. I've used it for Stacy. I've used it for pretty much everybody. And I'm going to head out to the LPGA. I'm going to go to the next two events on the LPGA tour to help some players, and then I do a corporate outing at Augusta during the Masters.
Is your lesson book so booked now that you're not looking for more? I don't know. I don't have to say that. I don't want to say that incorrectly. Are you still open for people? Can we give your contact number and let people contact you? I mean,
sure.
And
sure.
By the way, you said Pramanatsu. How do you say Stacy's last name? Was it
Pramanatsu?
Pramanatsu. Remember, she used to be we used to do a spelling word of a player, and they had to spell the last name.
Yes.
But I've never heard it said. So could you say it one more time?
Pramanatsu.
Pramanatsu. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That's an easier way
I
to
just
say
love
it.
that name. But
She's
anyway,
one of the most competitive people I've ever been around.
and she's a little button. I mean, she's so cool. She's you could see how cool she is just walking down a fairway. So,
Yeah.
so you must be very proud, EJ. You must be very proud.
It's like I said, I'm fortunate to work with people I like, and every day I wake up, I look forward to what I get to do, and feel blessed that I can get to do it and make a living.
Great. Well, we really appreciate your time here, EJ. We got to go ahead and go to a break. And again, EJ Pfister, top 100 instructor. Check out his website at ejpfistergolf.com. It's PFISTER. And we really appreciate the time, EJ.
Well, thanks for having me anytime.
And thank you for doing what you do for the golf industry. It's a better place because of you, EJ. We thank you so much.
Well, what you guys do helps spread the message, so I appreciate it.
All right, buddy. Have a great rest.